We are in Daniel chapter 2, and this has been a few years after, but he's still around 18 years old, he's young, and in this time he is in this council of advisors, and these advisors in the Babylonian kingdom are also are actually magicians and astrologers, and they're actually learning things that are demonic and just things that are not good. They're not of God. However, Daniel thrives and is able to navigate extremely difficult situations to learn and be educated, but also be true to God. Well, in this instance, the king encounters a problem. He has a dream that is disturbing to him. He's very interested in knowing what the meaning of it is. And so he decides to summon all of his advisors, his magicians, his astrologers, Chaldeans, all these people that are meant to give him insight into his decisions. Well, this is an interesting request because he doesn't want to be tricked or led astray with what they were going to tell him. And he says, I'm not going to tell you my dream and then you interpret it for me. In fact, if you're truly going to give me some insight, tell me my dream and then tell me what it means. So you can imagine these magicians, these astrologers, these advisors were shocked. And they thought, no one can do this. No one can do this. In fact, only those who don't dwell with flesh can figure that out. And so they were referring to, in their mind, it was the gods, those divine beings, because we can't figure it out. It's not a wisdom that we have access to. And so the king is not happy about this. And he, in fact, passes an edict and he says, kill every one of these advisors. If they cannot interpret and if they cannot give me this dream, then they are to be executed. And so he sends out, and one of these guards goes to seek after Daniel and his friends, and he's there to call them in to be executed because they don't have a response accordingly, right? But when Daniel hears this edict, he says, hold on. What I actually need is I need a meeting with the king. And so if you just give me a moment with the king, I will be able to do this for him. Wow, very confident to just say, yeah, I got it. Just set up a meeting and I'll go and do this. Well, he goes, and it's interesting, the next thing that he does in verse 16 of Daniel 2 is that he goes to his friends and he asks them to pray and intercede that they would be able to receive the mysteries of God and know this dream and its meaning. And so he tells them to do this and he goes to sleep, right? How do you have a confidence to sleep knowing that you're facing this meeting? Very important that if you don't have the answer, you will be executed. It will be an impossible situation unless God is with you. And what happens is that night, he receives the meaning in a vision. And so after he wakes up, he begins, and it says he blessed the Lord, he magnifies him. And Daniel refers to the attributes of God. And in this case, the attributes that had come through for him were the power and the wisdom of God. And he says, only because you're powerful and you're wise do I receive of your power and your wisdom so that I can engage and tackle these difficult things. But how did he do this? How did he get this confidence? Well, one is that he was leaning on God and his wisdom and his power. But I want you to notice what he does immediately after he hears what's happening and that he needs to come through and set up a meeting. He goes to his friends. He goes to this community. And so confidence oftentimes comes through community. And sometimes we think we can do something on our own, but even Daniel, being somebody that we look at as a hero of faith, needed his friends to pray with him, to have that intercessory prayer on his behalf. And so then I think about when I see this, I don't know about you, I can be a little introverted in certain situations. In social settings, if I'm not sure, I get a little intimidated. Maybe if I haven't been to the gym a long time, it's better when you go with a buddy, right? You feel a little more confident. Or maybe you're going to a gathering or another setting. Friends and family, if I'm with them, I feel more confident. Oftentimes I will call or text and say, hey, I'm here, come get me, right? We don't want to go in on our own. I can remember a time just getting to college at the University of Texas, and when I got there, my grandparents dropped me off, and there was a sense in, what now, right? Like I'm in this huge place, a lot of people, and I didn't have the community that I thought I would have. I did have some friends there, but it took a few weeks and months where we started going different ways, different interests, different degrees, all kinds of different things. And so it didn't take long for me to seek out community. When I found this both on campus and a local church, this community just gave me a confidence that when I was going through difficult times, there's people there that could intercede and pray and help me continue to live out in my faith and not get swayed by the pressures of that. And so as we look at this, the practical things that we can do is take initiative, take action, not be passive, find your community. That confidence in God's power and his wisdom comes sometimes when we don't have it, others will have it for us. And so ultimately, Daniel receives this insight, that revelation, the meaning. And in this vision, it's a vision of a statue representing these kingdoms that would rise up and fall. But at the very end of this dream, this vision, Daniel tells the king, this interpretation, this dream is certain and its interpretation is sure. And wow, to have that level of confidence that what I've just told you comes straight from God and I am not worried about its meaning. He is confident in what he has received. And so the reality is that we're made for this because, again, this dream, at the very end, this rock in this vision strikes the statue, signifying that ultimately God is sovereign. And this striking of this rock, Daniel finishes by saying it's a kingdom that will never finish and it will be forever. And it reminds us of the scripture in Luke when the angel Gabriel is announcing the coming of Jesus. He reminds us that Jesus is the one whose kingdom would have no end and he will rule forever. And so our confidence is in him. We can have courage, we can have all of these things, but we need community. And so we are made for this because our confidence comes from God, who is the ruler of all rulers. He is the ruler of all things. And so our wisdom, our power comes from him.